Hello everybody and welcome to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, or the Imola Grand Prix, because there's another Italian Grand Prix. I'm not sure actually. Anyway, welcome to the Italian Grand Prix. I'll quickly show you how the standings are looking after the South African Grand Prix, which I couldn't be bothered to turn up to, kind of. I didn't turn up to, as we are now 20 minutes left in this practice session. We will jump straight onto the circuit, looking at Kern Van XL in the minty fresh Mugen car, traveling very fast, So we have two sets of tyres as our choice for today. We have the super soft tyre, which will be what most drivers are running in their qualifying. And there will be the medium tyres, which some drivers may be using for race runs now. Or as Van XL has a little bit of a moment there. The medium tyres would be the race runs and tyres that will last the majority of the race. This could be a two-stop. I'm not quite sure. I haven't looked into strategies for teams yet, but possible two-stop. Possible with sort of a medium super soft, or having to use two sets of tyres. I'm not quite sure on the tyre life. We have a 32 lap race, so could be a one-stop running sort of 20 laps on the mediums and then 12 on the super soft. I'm not quite sure on tyre life, because that could be highly unreasonable to say. And just be like, the super softs last barely 5 laps. Why are you saying they could do 12? I don't know on the tyre life, but for now, with my knowledge of tyres last longer, the less grip they give you, because they are sliding something. Harder the tyre, the less they wear, but also the less they grip. So we watch a good friend Emilia-Romagna on track right now in 4th position, 2.3 seconds off of the fastest time set by the Baguette Racing team of consisting of Dmitry Kamishov and Ziglio. That sounds right. Anyway, Zahn and Crafter for Overdrive in 8th and 10th as we watch our fastest driver on track at the minute on the super soft tyre, Dmitry Kamishov. Down into turn 1, nothing too bad. We're now on board with Daniel So for the Euro Proton team. Some teams have changed how their team name looks for this point, some haven't, so you might see Infinity Rebel Racing here, you might see the actual team's name, just depends on how the teams have set up the ooh, just a little moment out of turn 2 there. Depends on how the team has set up the skins. I'll get rid of my cursor for now. Oh, actually, as we're in practice, I'll leave my cursor and I'll turn it off for the race. Anyway, so if you get to a point, I'm changing the cameras now because I want to see what cool cameras there is. This is a lovely one. I like this one. I'll sit here for a bit with the two fastest drivers, both being Baguette Racing, who I think did very well at Kyalami. Let me get the results up quickly for me. Results. Yeah, so a 1-2 for Baguette Racing at the South African GP, and we're looking at that. Could be happening again here. Looking at P1 and 2 in practice at the minute, but practice doesn't always mean how races are going to look. With Rost Anastasov from Breaking Point Racing in P3 and Sarah Mulfetova in P4. Not the most natural name to say for a British. Had a handful of DNFs actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 DNFs from that race. As we get to the start of the lap, I'll try and do my sort of slowed down track guide. Fastest lap and pole position both set by Nassim Rula. Nassim not finishing the South African Grand Prix, as he also set the fastest lap and pole position for the first race of the season in Tunisia. But he did finish and he won the Tunisian Grand Prix. As down into turn 1 we go. Wrong one. Which one is it? It's that one, isn't it? There we are. So anyway, as we start the lap, I will fly down. Who's near T1? No one. Okay. As we fly down the main straight. Not quite as fast as the Formula drivers. Turn 1. If we hope for a driver to come through, that's a tree. As we watch it, we much take the natural line of just bringing it into the curb and then taking a good amount of curb for the second one, I'm guessing. Oh, you can get the curb quite rotated here. I didn't think you could quite get as rotated, but yes, just taking sort of the natural line of bringing it to the middle of each corner. Sometimes for a chicane you want to bring it later into the first corner to get a better exit for the second corner, but it seems fine here because it's sort of a triple chicane, where then you come out later here. It seems that you could actually, if we look back quick, you could take a later apex here to get a better exit off to this reasonably short straight there, as I mentioned. Oh, good, Nassim. As we now look to the second chicane of the track. I'm not quite sure on corner names, but if I jank around with the angle, you can see that the first corner is very shallow. It is flat out, and then you're braking sort of just after the corner to get it slowed down for this second one. Taking again the natural line of just sort of pinning it to the middle of the corner here and just bring it over. Do sort of a couple of cars and then bring it all the way out here. Using it as much of the off track as possible. And you have to bring it all the way to the right again for this hairpin, which we will watch as a car goes through very slowly. This, unlike a couple at Tunisia, you can just sort of stick it into the middle and bring it out. There's no trickery to this one. We need to take it late, or maybe a track like Brands Hatch, where turn 2 there is a hairpin, but you have to just pin it to the inside instead of taking the natural line. As we now watch as we go down. Wrong one again, there we are. It's through here. It's only a slight lift, just sort of clip the apex there and bring it all the way out. If we watch the exit of it, you'll see that drivers end up using a lot of the, there we are, drivers using a lot amount of that outside curb. And you bring it down here, bring it all the way to the left, braking probably about 50 meters or later, just get it slowed down a little bit for this first part, and then braking the second you straight up for the second portion of the corner. I think this is Acqua Minerale. It's the only sort of point in the track I know if we sit here and wait for a car quick. As you can see, you just sort of, I'll try and follow one at this angle. There's a minty fresh car. taking it flat out and then slowing it down a lot for the second part, which is a bit finicky actually. Ooh, that's a car going sideways there. Yes, you can see lots of drivers just sort of hooking it into the corner, getting on this curb, and then trying not to get the car uneased on that exit curb. And then coming down here, braking about 75 meters, I'd say. And it's just sort of taking, could be a lot of curb for this. Taking not much curb. I guess you don't want to unsettle the car too much. With the with GT cars, you definitely want to just like demolish these curbs, but with these Formula cars, you can't quite take as much curb because they're a lot more difficult to drive. Yeah, you can see for the second one, some drivers might take more than others. Some drivers keep it safe, just want to keep it on the road, but then they use, on a fast lap, they'd end up using a lot of that outside curving. There's no curving there. That is a bit too much, the outside curving. There we are, that's about how much we're expecting to see from drivers. As down to the bottom of the track we go. The final corners of this lap. Not quite as fast as the Formula car. Still, you're braking at about 75 meters again for this one. Actually, this one isn't too difficult, I believe. I'm not quite sure on the braking there. Maybe 100. But you just sort of bring it in, take the natural line of just sort of clipping the inside of the corner. So this track is very much, there's no funny business with it. You're not like, oh, you could take a later apex here to get a better exit off for this part, or maybe a later apex there for better exit onto the straight, but no need to specifically. Some drivers might take an earlier apex if they feel like it was a little bit of a later apex about there from one of the drives we've just seen. But as we come through here, very much the middle of the corner. Middle of the corner again, using a lot of the outside curb as we go to finish a lap of the track. And we now let the computer take over again. We're watching Jason Milanov, the Breaking Point racing driver. He's coming through the hairpin now. The worst camera angle you can possibly get. It sees the suspension, but this is more for seeing how the suspension is reacting maybe when doing a setup. Personally, I wouldn't use that camera at all. Ooh, car getting a little bit sideways throughout Minerale. Again, another driver struggling. Sarah there. That's a corner that we might have to watch throughout the qualifying and race that might catch out drivers. On the super soft tyres here. Let's see what kind of lap she can set. I'm braking about just before 50 meters, I believe. That's what it looked like to me. I'm not sure what kind of lap Sarah sets. All side by side into the final chicane. Jeremy Guth slowing down on the side of the track. As with 6 minutes and 20 seconds left of this practice session, we have the two baguette racing drivers of Kamishov and Ziglio. Top Max Roma in P3. Apparently running the number 1 car, but I do not believe he is, as he is not the number 1. It's reserved for the world champion who isn't racing. Daniel Searle in the 96 car team, and Nathaniel in the 39. He is in 5th. Victor Bernat in 6th. Sarah Mulfetova in P7. Then Uzanov in P8 and Nassim Arula in P9, crossing the line there to go 3rd. Ooh, and taking a little bit too much curve at turn 1. Car getting up and out of his control. Martin Hell is in the server, but he's not set any representative lap times. He's 2 minutes 26 off of the fastest lap pace, so nothing too representative from him. Edgeworks Bernat on the super soft tyre now. To the end of a lap with him on board now. To the final 2 corners, a little bit wide there. We won't see the end of that lap as we watch Venuzanov now. Ooh, Ven car getting a little bit unstable and spinning, it seemed there. We're quite paying attention. 4 minutes left of this session. It is the Baguette Racing team running 1 and 2 with an over the limit car in P3, Beijing Racing P4, and Europroton P5. Top 5 all within half a second, and top 8 all within 1 second. Drivers have about 3 laps left until the end of the session if they were to run flat out from here. As that is a Beijing Racing car coming out of the pit lane there. Not quite sure on which driver that is. Jason's slowing down a bit, trying to build a gap to the driver ahead, it seems, as we jump over with Cohen Van Exel. It's coming to the end of his lap.
Easy.
Oh, Ben. Hello. How are you today?
I'm good. I saw that you were alone, and I've just put the car. That was my last lap of practice before qualifying, so I thought I would hop in and say hi. You know, a little bit of a throwback. To be honest with you, I missed the commentary spot. It was the easiest, to be honest. The easiest spot. You just talk rubbish for an hour. While racing, you actually have to quote-unquote drive, in my case. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, what should I commentate on? Let's see. Dimitri is exiting the pit lane. Simon's in the pits. Alexander is on a whole lap. Nasib is in the pits. Soho, I'm in game, so I don't need to share screen anymore. Soho is on an out lap. Timo is on a whole lap. Sarah is stopped on circuit. Martin is in the pits. Cohen is in P12 for a whole lap, and he just extended the track. Rudakov in the pits. Mateus Mash goes P15. Jamie Goof is 17th, and there's just a lot of action.
Yeah, as we now riding on board with our fastest driver on track at the minute, Dmitry Kamishov. Is he starting a lap? Because you said he was coming out of pit lane.
Yes, he's on our lap right now. He's
Okay,
preparing the tires. But it looks like he's treating this all lap like a whole lap. But yeah, I hope the driver does well. I think he's driving for Baguette Racing, if I'm not wrong. He's a complete
Yes.
rookie. Nobody knows who he is. He just started up and said, I'm gonna be speed, so...
Took his first race finishing second place, I believe.
Yep, it was a 1-2 at Kailami.
And at the moment it's a 1-2 in practice. Again for Baguette Racing, they are taking... Actually, where are they in the standings?
Jason Milano with a purple sector 2. He might be the one to watch as...
Jason coming to the end of his lap.
But
Ooh,
he's
a little bit wide.
That's, yeah. But
still might be a little bit in it.
Purple is purple.
End of the free practice session. Nah, that wasn't quite fast enough.
But yeah. You know, you said to me the last time we talked that you felt like nobody was listening to you since I'm not here, so I thought I would show up.
Thank you very much.
And wish the viewers very good watching. By the way, remember, support Breaking Point Racing and Over the Limit. They are the best teams. You know, Breaking Point had last year's World Drivers Champion. Missed out the constructors barely on. So, yeah. Go support them. Baguette Racing who?
Yeah. Baguette Racing who? But they're in what, P1 and 2?
Well, I'm getting radio that I need to go qualify the car, prepare for qualifying. So, yeah.
Good luck with that.
And thank you to all the stream viewers for still tuning into this race, even though I'm unfortunately not commentating anymore. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So, see you guys and have a nice viewing, all the viewers.
Goodbye, Van, and very good luck to you.
Thank you.
That was my good friend Ven Uzanov. At the moment he's in P11. Hopefully he can qualify a lot higher than that. He went from being in the booth to commentating. He went from being in the booth to racing now. As we now wait for the free practice session to end. And so we can go through the times as we look now. There's a car spinning. But our top 5 after that practice session is Baguette Racing P1 and 2 with Dmitry Kamishov and Ziglio, Daniel Soul for Europroton in P3, Dykowski for It's Dame Racing, I believe, in P4, and Nassim Rula for Over the Limit Racing in P5. Drivers are still coming out of the pit lane, even though the session timer has hit 0. Interesting to see. We will watch them, but not too much longer. There we are. The car's all slow to a halt now as we look to the top 2. Everything looking very good. If we look to the back of the grid, we have Nicholas Zahn in P19, Cadillac Craft P18, both overdrive cars, I believe. Jeremy Guth P17 for Force Tunisia. Let me actually get my teams up quick. There we are. Force Tunisia, nope. Who does he race for then? Who did I say? Jeremy Guth. Jeremy Guth is an It's Dame Racing driver. Ah, interesting. Oh well. I'm set. I thought the logo looked different. Anyway, Alexander Dayowski, he is It's Dame Racing. Yeah, I thought they had the yellow with colour. So henna or Renner Heroes. Yeah, Heroes is for Tunisia. Alexander Rudikov for Lamborghini Tekken P14, Kevin Van Axel and Martin Hell, both racing for Minty Fresh Mugen. We have 3 minutes to go. As we now flick through cameras, there was 2 tenths between Dmitry Kamishov and Simone Ziglio. Introducing our sponsor NordVPN. As we look at the back of the amazing looking safety car here, we are running the Alfa Romeo Quadrifoglio, bringing safety to this very dangerous sport we have here, but as long as drivers keep it on the track and aren't making any exaggerative dangerous moves, we should be fine. Cool. We have 50 seconds to go as we quickly look to the team standings, which I didn't really go over. But we have Nassim leading by 1 point for the over limit team. The Baguette Racing drivers, after one race, are already leading the team championships. Bijou Racing second, and Over the Limit in third. It's Name Racing taking the 4th position in the team standings, and Aquara Racing taking the 5th position. So we go to the drivers. We have Nassim P1 with 26 points, Ziglio in P2 with 25, Max Romer in P3 with 22, and a joint for P4 between 3 drivers, Phoenix having 18 points, Timo Nathaniel having 18 points, and Kamishov having 18 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. P7 is shared by 2 drivers of Anastasov and Bernat with 15 points. P9 is held by Mulfetova with 12 points, and Alex Helm taking up 10th position with 8 points. And that is the beginning of qualifying. I will look to the track now, as I will put you on board with our fastest driver of practice, Dmitry Kamishov, as there's a couple of drivers phasing between each other. This is online racing, so collisions are removed in pit lane to stop any silly crashes like we could see in real life at times. The drivers now going out, everyone on the super soft tyre, just trying to get those tyres warmed up for their lap, trying to not put too much temperature into them so that they are sliding all around lap, trying to not put too little temperature and too little forces through the tyres, and so that when they get to the beginning of that, they're sliding around because the tyres are too cold and the tyres aren't wanting to move. And so it's all compromise. You don't want to work tires too much, but you don't want to work them too little. So it's just finding the perfect temperature, which all the drivers will know, and as they possibly could have apps for Assetto Corsa that tell them what the temperature the tires need to be at are. I believe it's around 80 to 90 for the softer compounds, and then it's a little bit higher for the harder compounds, around the 100-degree mark. And that isn't facts, that's just me sort of going off the top of my head what I remember from seeing things. Anyway, Nassim starting his lap. First driver through the chicane. I believe this is Villeneuve chicane, the second one. Very fast through the first part, slowing it down for the second. As all part 2 drivers are on track, actually, it's a Baguette Racing and an Overdrive driver and a Minty Fresh now. So 16 of the 19 drivers we have today are already on the track. And through Rocco Minerale, Nassim goes with 50 seconds gone in his lap time. We're looking at possibly a 118, low 118, maybe a high 117 if he's quite fast enough, but I'm not quite sure what we're looking at lap time wise for here. Nassim is a very fast driver, but he seemed to have struggled a little bit. So the first race he did win, and he had fastest lap and pole position. We're looking at a 1:18.1. So with a little bit of time still to find that lap, possibly I wasn't quite on board the entire thing. Max Romer coming to finish a lap now as he crosses the timing beam to go second with a 1:19.4. A 1:18.6 from Dmitry Kamishov. Our second place driver from 2 weeks ago, actually, because last week it was the IndyCar, which you all should watch as I do drive in it. And yes, as we see, Kamishov exiting pit lane. Interesting. Doing another lap. Ziglio is on lap at the minute, but we are watching Max Romer. A little bit of understeer, it looked like there. Car slid forwards a little bit more than he might have wanted. What number is he, actually? I can't quite see. He isn't the number 1. As we now ride on board into chicane, you can see not taking that much. Getting car very well rotated for that first corner. As you can see the info of the gear and the speed, I believe, at the bottom of your screen. It's instantly open. A lot of turning at the beginning and then slowly bringing it out. As he gets on throttle now to the end of his lap, he sets a 1:19.1, so going slightly faster than his previous fastest lap, but still only good enough for P4 at the minute. We still have 15 minutes of qualifying to go, so anyone could be pole position, anyone could be last place. It all depends on when and how fast you are. Because if you're a slower driver but you're setting your laps at the end of the session, you are likely to get a better position if you're a faster driver at the beginning of the session. Because at the beginning of the session the track isn't quite rubbered in as much as it is the end of the session, with drivers setting lap after lap. And so we watch Alexander Rudikov out of the hairpin. A little bit wide there of the apex. You want to be getting a little bit close to that curve, I believe. Not touching it, but a little bit closer wouldn't hurt. We slow it down, don't quite take the curve there. And a flat out down to corner numbers I cannot know. I do not know. I cannot know. Very slow chicanes. There are a minty fresh car ahead of us, keeping out of the way. And down to finish the lap, it will be a 1 minute, definitely. And it's what that second number is for the seconds, which is the important part. Ooh, not quite the fastest. That is Kamishov. Possibly Ziglio. There's 1:21.7. Only fast enough for P15 so far. As we watch Daniel Searle now finishing a lap. He might not make the top position, but he is on a very fast lap so far. As he crosses the line, it doesn't improve. As Kamishov is off the minute, but we need to watch our previous winner of Ziglio. Slowing down, stopping, returning to pit lane. No, just slowing down to let his teammate pass, I believe. So maybe there's a little bit of a radio communication between these two, and they're saying, go ahead so I can get a slipstream to start my lap. No, because he's slowing down and letting other drivers pass. Now he's trying to get through the corner. He's slowing down quite a lot, so he isn't trying to get a slipstream from his teammate. Let's check what the Minty Fresh boys are up to if they're in VC. Minty Fresh they are. Martin Hell and Cohen Van Exel. Could go speak to them in a second, but at the moment Ziglio's fastest time is a 4:33, which isn't quite representative as the race winning pace this driver does have. Taking a lot of curving there as we go to start a lap. Down into T1, so there's a driver exiting pit lane there. It's down turn 1 we go. Looks very nice. Nothing too off about that. Car doesn't hate it. Ooh, that is a Beja racing driver, Max Rommel, I believe, getting a bit unsteady and slowing Simone down a little bit. That could hinder the time. But through the second corner, through Aqua Minerale we go. Ooh, taking a lot of curve. That could be invalid. That does seem invalid from how slow he's going. Struggling to set a lap time, Ziglio seems to be. So will it be returning to pit lane, or slowing down, letting the tyres cool down, and then just going for another push lap? That could be what we see. We'll ride on board for a little bit longer to see what happens, but at the moment our top 3 are Nassim Rula, Kamishov and Soho. Yeah, just working that outside tyre a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit cold, using all of the curb and all of the track there is possible with a little bit more. And starting a lap again. So 1:30 there, putting in 19th, with mine not quite setting the fastest lap ever in P19. Turn 4 and 5. Very nice, using a lot of curb there. Doesn't have a Beja racing driver ahead of him slowing down. What he does have though is an overdrive car giving him a little bit of a slipstream through these fast sections, but then also a little bit of dirty air, making it a bit difficult taking the arrow off of the car. Is he going to slow down? He's still on the outside looking. He's trying to set a fast lap, but then that driver is not quite giving him space, so he's going to slow down off this lap, return to pit lane, because more than about 2 or 3 laps on these tyres seems to take the best out of them, and there's no point in continuing. Sounds like it's Jeremy Booth, who could be on a flying lap. And whilst I wasn't paying attention, Nassim set the fast lap of the session. First driver into the 1 minute 17s with a 1:17.992. Top 3 within a second of pole position, but 4th place is about a second off with a 1:18.9, maybe the 1:19 for P4 there. As Jason goes 4th within a second. This is 1:18.7 as Jason takes the widest line possible to try and get out of the way of driver behind. As we now wait to see, can Max put himself into the top 5? So within a 1:18.9. Ooh, a little bit of unsteer, probably a lock up there. It looked like I just didn't want to turn there through the first corner of that 2-corner left-hander section. He crosses the line, so it's a 1:18.8.9, put him just about within a second of the fastest lap. Oh, that was drivers flying over and over and out of this session. Nicholas Zahn isn't connected to the server anymore. That could have been him. He is now reconnected and he's back into P14 where he qualified. As top 5 are now within a second, and no one is within even half a second of Nassim a minute. Ziglio not set a fast lap yet. Interesting to see. Dykowski taking his car off the track to return to pit lane. As soon as Ziglio is going to end his lap possibly. Nope. We'll watch Ziglio here quick. Coming to either begin or end a lap. Was checked by the timing screens. Pushing to the line as we see starting a lap now. And so taking the car down to turn 1 at 190 kilometers an hour. That could have been there. Slowing it down most of the way through the first corner section. Daniel Soul for the Euro Proton team going second within half a second of Nassim Rula. Simon Ziglio through the fast left-hander there into a quite slow right-hander. Trying not to go too wide and invalidate. Trying not to use too much steering to lose as little speed as possible. Felt a little bit wide for that first one, taking a lot of curve for the second one though. Very good. As now down to the final 2 corners of this lap, 2 90-degree left-handers. Everything looks good there. Car is still good, not too wide, doesn't invalidate as he now pushes to cross the line. It is a 1 minute 18.6, putting him 4th. So we have a 3-4 for the Baguette Racing team, but at the moment that 1-2 spot is taken by Nassim Rula and Daniel Soul, I believe. If you look at Matazus Mai in P18, pushing to the line to set a time faster than he's already set. 1 minute 21.0, putting him 15th. Still a little bit, still a lot of time could be found in that lap, but you know, racing isn't the easiest thing in the world. It might look easy, oh, you just turn the wheel, brake and accelerate, but it's getting that precise enough and just carrying speed, and there's a lot more thinking to it than just press throttle, press brake, turn wheel. P18, positive on Delta, negative on Delta's case, so very close to the lap time there. So it all depends on the screen they have set. I'm not sure how to change that, but there definitely is a way they can change it. As we watch our third place man crossing the line now. To go second place with 118.2. He is about 3/10 off. 2.9 tenths off of the fastest driver of Nassim. Very impressive time Nassim has set there. I believe he is starting another lap, so we'll keep an eye on him. Also watch Cadillac Crafter coming through the end of it. End of his lap as he crosses the line to set a 1 minute 20.9, putting himself P15. Nassim possibly had an issue and returned to pit lane because he was at the beginning of a lap, and now he is again at the beginning of the lap as Ven sets a 119.8, putting himself P12. Drivers always stopping to the right of the track to let people pass and then return to pit lane. Between the race and qualifier, I'm going to go and get a drink because my throat is dying from the amount of nattering on I'm having to do. But yeah, so P4, Ziglio coming to the end of his lap. Can he beat the 118.4, 118.5 that he set? I know it was 118.6 even. Yeah, because that's very close. The 118.5 from Ziglio, not quite improving enough to get past Daniel Soul, but it's good enough for fourth position quite comfortably by 2/10. Drivers seem to be struggling to find pace in this car a little bit, as there is about only the top 7 are covered by a second, when with this being sort of a stock car, everyone's running the same car but different setups and such. You'd think the times would be a lot closer, but some drivers with extraordinary skill and some just with a good amount of skill to be able to still race well in this series. With 45 seconds left of the session, Dmitry Kamishov is pushing, trying to beat Nassim this time, trying to go 3/10 faster than his previous best, and using all of the curb possible there. And then into the right-hander, there is Dmitry Kamishov. We will not see the end of his lap, but we'll pay attention to the timing scores to see if he goes first. Where is he? He's coming to the end of his lap. 2 left-handers go for him. Cadillac Craft getting on the gravel and going out of this race, out of this qualifying session. That'll be the end of his lap. But can Dmitry improve any more? Oh, he's had a bit of a moment on the exit there. He doesn't improve on his time. As Dajowski coming to the end of his lap now. Can he improve and go better than P8 with a 1 minute time? No, a 1 minute 19.0. Crosses the line, so it's a 118.8, putting himself P7 ahead of Timo Nathaniel. But Timo is on a lap, as Ven's coming to the end of his lap also on the super soft tyre, as everyone should be, because qualifying. Ven through the final 2 corners, pushing to the limit, getting a little bit on the grass there, as he takes himself to the line, now flat out, taking the shortest run, bringing it to inside, so it's a 119.7, putting himself P10. He's the last driver to finish the lap. There is our pole sitter, Nassim Ruler, with a 117.992. we're now onto the race. I will return in a second. And I have returned. So we, as we look at the qualifying times, we have Nassim on pole with a 117.992 for the Overbreak Racing team. In P2, we have Dmitry Kamshov with a 118.283, about 3/10 off of the fastest lap. In third place, we have Daniel Searle for the Europroton team with a 118.4. And fourth place, we have Simone Ziglio with a 118.5. Fifth is Max Romer for Beju Racing with a 118.6. And sixth place is Jason Milanov for Breaking Point Racing, setting a 118.7. Time spread out quite a lot for this qualifying session. As we now just wait 1 minute and 50 seconds for the beginning of the race. We have 32 laps of great racing ahead of us in the 2013 Red Bull created by Racing Studios, driven by 19 of the finest amateur sim racers. And yeah. So 1 minute 8 to go now. I'll actually show you the this, so we can just look at things. These are the Nassim timings. He didn't quite have the fastest first sector, but only losing about half a tenth throughout the entire lap. His 118, previous 118.1 He lost most of his time. He lost about a tenth in the middle sector, and then another sort of half a tenth in the first sector, and that's what he found, and he was able to set the fastest lap of the session, his 6th round on the track. With 15 seconds to go now, 32 laps of great racing between 19 of the greatest amateurs. 4, 3, 2, and then they'll get put onto the grid for a 1 minute wait. Nassim will be moved to pole position as soon as possible, as I now have to sit and wait until after... Oh, I've already been pitted. Have I? Where am I? No, I'm at the back of the pack. Great. Good old fun. As there are 19 drivers powering up the engines, getting ready to create some great racing for us to watch. There's our pole system, Nassim, and there is the rest of the group. We are looking back now. 12, 11, 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We look to Nassim. As the race starts, Dmitry Kamishov getting a great start there. And as we go down to T1, looks like Dmitry could have taken the lead there. He's on the inside. He doesn't quite have the lead though. Down into turn 3 we go. Uzanov has made a couple of places up and now is in P9. Daniel Sol in P3 still. Cadillac Crafter making some overtakes. Cohen Van Axel making some overtakes. Cadillac Crafter and Cohen racing together. Lots of drivers have decided to start on the super soft tyre. Cadillac Crafter, Jeremy Guth and Zahn all decided the medium tyres that they're going to start on, and they'll move to the super soft tyre later on in the race. So we now look to the back of the pack at the minute. You can see the Minty Fresh drivers chasing down the overdrive car of Cadillac Crafter here. As I decide what we're watching, because we missed a little bit of racing. We watch in the TV2 camera view. We watch, ooh, looking down the inside to the penultimate corner. Ooh, very, very, very close there, but the Baguette racing driver has been able to make himself space to get through there. As we are, look here, that's 4 drivers very close together. Looking in the front wing of Sarah Mulfetova. And now trying to get a little bit of a switchback there, couldn't quite make it. Jason weaving a little bit to try and break the toe. Ooh, little look down the inside, loses a little bit of time. Ooh. There's a little tap there as Jason does lose the rear end a little bit, and Sarah trying to get the best exit off of there. Jason is struggling now. He's going to have very warm rear tyres. There was another driver off Zahn. That could have been him trying to avoid that crash. Has taken him out. But Jason dropping down the order there. And the Baguette racing driver of Simon Ziegler has gone away from Daniel Sol by about 1 second now. So our top 5 after that dramatic start, we're looking at Nassim is still leading, but the gap's closing slightly. He is only about half a second ahead. As Kamishov is faster on that first lap, well, that second lap. Dmitry Kamishov holding the fastest lap at the minute. But Dowski is very close to the back of Mulfetova. As into turn 1, he doesn't look down the inside. But there's always another place and another time. Let's see if into turn 4 anything happens. No, the gap is still a little bit too big. leaning on all the track limits in which he can. Looking back to Timo Nathaniel, who could be closing a little bit. Sarah Mulfetova looking back off of her rear wing to see how close Dowski is. He's 7/10 close. Kamishov will be a good fight to watch. Watching the front two, we aren't quite at the minute. You can see the little battles forming. Sort of the front three have pulled away. Then the sort of 4th to 6th they're fighting, and then Victor Bernat. Bernat and Max. Where's... Oh, there we are. Oh, Jason Milanov has disconnected after possibly another incident there. He is in 18th position. Fastest lap is set by Simone Ziglio in P3, so he's hunting down the front two. As now a great run off that final corner allows Mai to get past Guth, going about 8/10 faster on that lap alone. As Rudakov is making a pit stop. Interesting, very early pit stop, only 4 laps into the race. As we now watch Kamishov chasing down Nassim Rula. We are 3 laps into this race. We have about 28 laps to go. This is all heating up quite a bit with the 2 Baguette racing drivers being very fast, but Nassim still having very good pace. And Sarah Mulfetova hits the back of Ven Uzanov. Oh, I almost thought that was Nassim there. I didn't quite watch the cameras change, but that is Ven spun out of contention for that 7th, that 8th, 7th, 8th place that he was and that he gained at the start. Interesting. Oh, as Jeremy Guth has spun, and now Nassim has set the fastest lap of the race of a 1:18.72. He's pulled away a little bit from Kamishov, it seems. Yep, a 1.3 second gap now. So maybe there was a mistake from Dimitri there. Maybe it's just great racing from Nassim. Getting the most out of his super soft tyres, which he's going to have to run for a good amount more laps. So depending on how long the front guys run on these soft tyres, it could just be a one-stop onto the mediums on about lap 8. I mean, lap 5 and they're still... Lap 5 and they're still putting in fastest lap. There could still be a lot in these tyres. Could still be quite a lot in these tyres. Watching on board, looking at the suspension of Ziglio, who's closing up on his teammate now. 3/10 separating the 2 drivers, 2 teammates, so there could be a little bit of team orders, or it could just be race. We'll have to see. It's pushing as fast as they can down to the first corner, trying to catch Nassim. They'll be trying to work as a team to catch Nassim to win this race. Nassim is pulled away by 3 seconds, so it could be with the setup when Nassim is just better on tyres than the 2 Baguette racing drivers, or it could just be that Nassim has found that extra gear that he needs. But 3 seconds in about 3 laps, the gap sort of held for quite a bit. As the two Dame racing cars, it's interesting, they have differently designed steering wheels to the rest of the grid. It's just fun to see. It's interesting to find. I'd like to find out how they've done that, but it's interesting nonetheless. As Dialski loses the place to Zahn there on pit exit. Both drivers on medium tyres. Zahn slightly warm, Dialski fresh. The highest medium runner at the minute is Cadillac Crafter, who is 9 seconds off of Cohen Van Axel in P9. And if we look to progress quickly, as that is Renner Heroes off. I keep on saying Henna instead of Renner there. Anyway, the drivers that have made up the most positions are in fact Heroes and Cadillac Crafter both having made up 5 positions this race. Oh, that is Nicholas Zahn off of the track and very heavily into... Could be some light suspension damage, it seems. Seems to be driving fine though. He will continue, but that did look like quite a heavy shunt into the wall. He's still 1 up on his starting position. Cadillac Crafter could be battling a little bit there. Drivers that have already made pit stops in the racing driver of note really is Dowski and Heroes also making a pit stop. All the other drivers that have made pit stops have either disconnected from the race or have not exited pit lane. Tyre age, most drivers have done 6 laps. I'm not sure that's correct because I believe Dowski has pit. Oh, it's Cohen Van Exel taking quite an unconventional line there. Quite unconventional, drifting through the inside. The stewards might have a look at that, but from the sideways actions we have, that should be all clear. Not time gain there, sort of quite even as the Baguette racing driver having his pit box at the very end of pit lane. And Nassim Rula getting the car through that hairpin, taking a slightly late apex it looked like. As our one-time race winner Simone Ziglio exits pit lane on the medium tyres. It is lap 8 of 32. Kevin Van Exel getting a little bit of oversteer there. A little bit, not a little bit of oversteer, a little bit of wheel spin as he exits his pit box. Very long pit lane here. Big area of nothing. Losing you most of your time in pit lane apart from the stop itself. Is at pit limiter through that long section that could get away with not being pit limit, but also is probably safer to have as pit limit. As Nassim Rula and Kamishov, both drivers are now in on lap 8 of 32, so they could run the mediums to the end, but that could, I feel like that would take a lot out of the tide. It's lap 8 and everyone's coming into pit lane now, so I think it's going to be mediums to near the end, maybe sort of lap 25-28ish, where you only sort of have to do 7-8 laps again on the tyres, so it could be sort of 15-20 lap stint on the mediums, which would take you near enough the end. And then you'll have just a sprint to the end on the medium tyres. Victor Bernat still on the super soft tyres in first. He has a 12-second gap, but he has not pit yet. And you spend about 30 seconds in pit lane. And so you're probably losing about 20 seconds, maybe 25 if it's a bigger pit stop. There we are, Ven having a little bit longer pit stop for 35.9. In P13, if we look to the gaps quick, my is in pit lane at 0.000, being perfectly lined up at the previous timing beacon it seems between those two drivers. But the closest gaps in the minute between 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th. Although P10 of Dajewski is very close, as Nassim makes his way back up in first place after Victor Bernat goes 1 lap longer on his super soft tyres than the rest of the grid. He is dropping down the grid. He could hold P4 though. He does hold P4 possibly. Looking where the next driver is, it will be very close. They might catch each other on exit. Yeah. Looks like he should hold it though. Looking to the right hand side of our screen to see the left of the car, there is a driver behind him, but he does gain a position I believe in P4, I believe he was P5 when we all pit. The Cadillac, interestingly, he's running the medium tyres. He is looking for a move on Victor Bernat, pushing him a little bit wide through the hairpin. That might be looked at. Victor Bernat just trying to take the line, losing 2 positions there in the process, going down to P6. It's Jeremy Guth in P11. Always had a moment somewhere slightly off camera, it looks like, because maybe it's behind the timing board. We cannot see what's happened to him. Ooh, as Nicholas Zahn is round. That is the Baguette Racing car. I do not know. How's Carsine? No suspension damage, doesn't look like it. 5 stars on the back of the car, no idea why this 5 stars. There have not been enough championships to have won 5 championships. But Max Romer off after a collision with... Oh, I'm not sure, with collision with someone, or maybe it was just wide. 2 stars on the rear wing of the Beige Racing car, symbolising their 2 Constructors' World Championships, I'm going to guess. Ooh, a Vetova getting a little bit sideways there through turn 2. Oh, as we're passing Victor Bernat very easily. He's struggling a little bit on cold tyres. No, he's been on those tyres for a couple of laps now. Cadillac Craft, yeah, about 2 and a bit laps. Cadillac Crafter is very close to Daniel Soul, it looks like. Only about 3/10 between them. Oh, Dahelski looking to make a move on Bernat. Bernat is just dropping places. Probably a big amount of damage from, probably a little bit of damage from being pushed out wide could have done it for him. As Bernat now getting back past Dahelski, but it was on the outside, so he does not hold the position. Dahelski has now solidified that position by taking the inside for the next 2 corners, but down the straight. We watch Cadillac Craft get past Daniel Soul, just about, but Soul comes back at him as Matthews May is round and not quite being able to keep it going straight. Daniel Soul with a 0.410 with a 4/10 gap to the next driver of Cadillac Craft. He's getting past him there. Not quite on the screen, I don't believe, but possibly. Don't know. I think we're getting to the point where back markers are getting into it a little bit. If I just fly through this and go to gaps, yes, because my Zan heroes will lap down. Uzanov is not far off, only about 10-15 seconds off. As Max Romer pushing to try and catch Victor Bernat. On these medium tyres, the lap times we're looking at being set seem to be about 1:20s. So I think it's Ziglio that holds the fastest lap at the minute. That will be very much kept with him unless either a lower field driver jumps onto the super softs and tries some funny business to take the extra point away from him. Actually, do we have extra point fast lap? I think so. But anyway, so this could be 2-stop. Depends on how long these mediums last for. If the mediums don't last that long. Oh, that's Jeremy Guth spinning after taking too much curb, possibly. We don't get any replays. You can see it says Infinity Rebel Racing, but that's just because the Rockstar Force Tunisia team haven't changed the name there. There's a little file. I think you change it. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, because Nassim has 26 points. Unless he finished. He didn't finish. No. He had fastest lap. So Nassim picking up the 1 point fastest lap from his first race. Iglio not quite beating the fastest lap at Kyalami. But now we are at Imola, and Kayami is behind us, and Ziggler, is what I was meant to say, has the fastest lap of the race. Nassim has pole position still, but that fastest lap point is not going to our championship leader. This could see over the limit close that gap between themselves and Beijing Racing. Beijing Racing not scoring too many points, being in P5 and P9, so scoring 2 points for the P9 driver. And I don't know how many, 10 for P5? Yeah, I believe it's 10. Actually, 1 minute 20.4 from our fastest drivers, 1 minute 90.8 from Diglio. Still setting incredible pace on those medium tyres. As Jamie Guth off the medium tyres onto the super softs, I believe. And Kevin XO not far off being lapped. Oh, that's Ven round at Aqua Minerale there. And so now most drivers are on the medium tyres, apart from, I don't even think Guthen, no, Guthen's on both started on the medium tyres, so they moved from medium to super softs. But yeah, most drivers are on the super soft tyre, medium tyre even, they start on the super soft tyre. And depending on tyre life, could move back to super softs at the end as a final hurrah. But I think the top 3 at the minute have solidified themselves quite easily on the podium, unless there are any major incidents such as a crash or an unforeseen pit stop, maybe with communication errors with teams. That's very unlikely. Oh, is Max Romer making a little bit of a mistake there, it sounds like? Getting on the grass a little bit. But yeah, P8 for Max Romer at the minute. 36 seconds between Nassim and P4 of Daniel Soul. Timo, ooh, that's Nicholas Zahn round at turn 2. Inside turn 2, interesting. Ooh, spinning the wheels up. Is he? He isn't beached, I was going to say. Has he run the car super low and gotten beached in the gravel? He hasn't. That was an issue we saw with the second generation of film student car, the Phoenix. That car, because of how low you had to run it to have the power assisted ground effects working, the car would beach if you got into the gravel. Interesting little fact. Ooh, it's down the inside. Timo goes for P4. Does he hold the position? Just about, but now Daniel has the slipstream to... No, he doesn't. So Daniel a little bit off there. And the only real battle going on the track, as there is a 5-second gap between Kamishov and Ziglio. As my pits, we have Cadillac Crafter in P10 being lapped by our race leader. The next driver in P9 is 53 seconds behind our race leader. If we go to gaps between drivers now, you can see that there is just under a second between Timo and Daniel Soul as Renner Heroes. Heroes off a little bit there. Looks like, oh, Sven is off. Where is Sven off? He's off at turn 2. He's just trying to get the car spun around. He is on the medium tyre. Oh, and he's DNF'd. Sven is disconnected from the server. He does not want to continue participating in this race after that mistake. It's Jeremy Guth in P12 now on the Supersoft tyre. The only driver on the Supersoft tyre, actually, as we watch our third place man of Simone Ziglio, 3 seconds off of his teammate. As we look at Cohen Van Exel around the final corner there. Victor Bennett looking and chasing down Max Romer, being about a second between them. And Nassim Rula, our race leader, with a 5.6 second lead through the hairpin at the far side of the track. Victor Bernat in P9 now, watching him just through fast left-hander there. At the moment, all apart from Jeremy Guth are on the medium tyre. Jeremy Guth being on the super soft tyre at the 20th lap of this race. Couple of laps go on lap 16. We would have had Vedden saying with half the race to go. Half the race is still to come. But half the race has gone. And even more. "30 seconds between Timo Natangle in P4 and the top 3. Oh, Nassim on lap 20, so I've only been on those tyres for about 12 laps. The top 3 are all in onto presumably a fresher mediums, maybe, to get in the last 12 laps. Or it could just be there, yeah, because I was going to say they could either be stretching a set of softs or going onto a set of mediums for another 12 laps. Interesting strategy there. You'd think that the mediums would hold their pace for a little bit longer than super soft tyres. But you could have easily done 3-stop going sort of softs, super soft, and then going for a long stint on the mediums at some point. Or maybe starting on the mediums, doing a long stint going to sort of lap 10, maybe even 12 there, and then just doing 2 reasonably long super soft stints. It is what it is. And all the medium runners are now pitting for another set of mediums because the tyres haven't quite made it to a point where they can get onto the super soft tyres without having to worry by the end of the stint. With the closest gap on track at the minute being Timo and Daniel Sol in P6 for 1.7 seconds. Ooh, that's my off in P13. Tap to that rear corner. Real life probably would have been suspension damage there. Ooh, that's my round again. And disconnected from the race. And now we just have to wait for Heroes to pass my there. That is it. At the moment, we have 14 of the 19 drivers that started this race are continuing to race, with 10 laps left to race. Less than a second between Timo and Daniel Sol. That could be good to watch if that closes up enough to see on-track battle. At the moment, it isn't quite close enough. Here we are, helicopter view from behind Daniel Sol's car. Ooh, that is Guth off there. Where is he? Guth off out of that chicane. That chicane being the final chicane. I'm very good at describing the track. I need to learn corners before I just fuck up at a track, don't I? But anyway, down to turn 1 and 2. You can see. Ooh, now we're watching Daniel Sol, who's about a second behind Timo and Daniel, fighting for P5 and the 10 points in which it rewards. Timo would end up with 28 points, and his teammate Max Romer would end up on 24 points, so he would hop his teammate and Phoenix, as Phoenix is not racing today. I'm not sure if he's racing much for the season. I'm not sure how much Phoenix is racing, but Ziglio, in the position he is in at the minute, would gain 15 points, which would put him on to 40 points. His teammate would gain 18 points and go on to 36, I believe. Nassim gaining 25 points would put him on to 31. So, no, you're going to 51. It's confused why I said 30, because like Cam Shot getting 2 second places would be more than Nassim's 2 first places. Doesn't quite mathematics together. So Max Romer very close to the back of Sarah there, the lead Pro Racing driver, as we now keep an eye out for Nat pitting. He's been a bit out of sync from the rest of the drivers, going long on that super soft stint at the beginning and now pitting late, doing a normal length stint on those medium tyres, possibly going on to a set of super soft to try and close that 33-second gap. Should be difficult with the 8 laps remaining, but I think he could also just come out on another set of mediums. He's on the super soft tyre and he's going to do the last 8 laps of the race on the super soft. So this was the kind of strategy I was expecting, but I was expecting more of they're pitting early off the super soft tyres, I'm guessing. Sort of, if you're pitting lap 8 on the super soft, you go to until like lap 24, 26-ish on those mediums, and then come onto the super soft tyres. But clearly the wear from the mediums is not quite as low as I thought it'd be. But Max Romer half a second away from P8. P8 giving him 2 more points, giving him 4, which puts him on 26 points. Putting him in 4th in the championship, I believe. Max Romer is within 2/10, was within 2/10 of P8. Daniel Sol is now closing down on Max's teammate, actually, Timo Nathaniel, with less than a second between them. Is he getting a little bit of a slipstream? Not quite. It was about 10th faster that lap. 10th faster each lap is not quite enough. Because, I mean, it could be there are 7 laps left, but that is just to get onto the back of Timo, not let alone go past him, which you'd have to be a lot faster than that. Oh, as Timo loses the position, I think that's just an overtake possibly down the inside there at the hairpin. But Timo, maybe from mistake, has lost the position to Daniel Sol and is now battling with no one. Who's that close behind him? RH. Renner Heroes. Ooh, that's Jeremy Guth around there at Aqua Minerale. One of 2 super soft tyre runners at this stage in the race. Him and Bernat, and I believe he starts to pick, so that was quite an early stop onto these set of super soft here that he's on. 25 laps completed of this race. The standings at the moment are looking like Nassim Rula in P1, holding the first place position after the start of the race. Kamishov holding P2 after the start of this race. Ziglio starting P4 and ending up in now P3. If I get the progress up quickly, Daniel Sol starting P3 after having a great qualifying and dropping down to P4. Timo Nathaniel going up to P5 after gaining 3 positions. Dajowski starting P7 gains 1 position. Victor Bernat gains 2 and ends up in 7th. Sarah Mulfetova in P8 gains 3 positions. Max Romer loses 4 positions. Where people gain positions, people do also have to lose positions. So he is the big loser out of the top 10, having lost 4 positions. Cadillac Craft, though, he's getting 10 positions. Oh, as Cone Van XL is all over the grass. Oh, that's a big hit from a driver passing. That was Renner Heroes. Ooh, Heroes is in the air after possibly a hit with another car, and not only Cone Van XL, but Cone Van XL has returned to pit lane, meaning he will not continue with this race due to the rules of this racing league. As Sarah Mulfetova is struggling a little bit, stopping next track and returning to pit lane. So that is 2 more drivers not continuing this race. A points scorer having collision with a back marker possibly, and or maybe a driver that they were racing and flying, and Jeremy Guth is just stopped on track at the minute. What is he up to? He's just sat there doing nothing. Timo is off. Timo is off just before the hairpin and loses his position to Dajkowski. Cadillac in P9. He's turning to pit lane, presumably to fix any damage he got, because I think he might have been involved slightly with a collision, or maybe he's just pitting for strategy reasons. He's gone quite late actually for his pit stop, so maybe he just didn't pit and now he's going back to where he would end up. So Timo into the most deadly chicane on the track because of how high the curves are. anyway, back to what I was doing with going through positions. Cadillac Crafter has gained 6. Max Romare has actually gained a position since he was now in P8, because I believe Sarah was ahead. And Jeremy Guth is still stopped just for that chicane there. He is not quite budging. As Nassim has completed 28 laps of the race, and the top 3 have now all completed 28 laps, and we still have about, oh god, how much of a lap? New Soul is over half a lap until the next driver catches it. But yes, there's top 3 within 10 seconds of each other, and then P4 is just under 1 minute off of the top 3. So the podium is pretty set and stamped unless there is a big crash that includes one of the 3. So the minute, if the race were to finish here for any technical reasons, it would be Nassim in P1, Kamishov in P2, Ziglio P3, Sol P4, Diagsky P5. And with 3 laps of this race to go, the racing is all spread out a little bit. There's not too much on-track action now, and we're just waiting for anything to happen. So at the minute, 9 drivers are finishing this race. Those 9 drivers being Nassim Rula, Dmitry Kamishov, Simone Ziglio, Daniel Sol, Dialski, Timo Nathaniel, Victor Banat, Max Romare, and in last position for finishing the race is Cadillac Craft. Oh, there's a little bit of a screen freeze there. But yes, P10 of Sarah Mulfetova being DNF'd. Jeremy Guth has returned to pit lane, I believe, because he was not moving from where he was. So Jeremy Guth returned to pit lane, meaning that he could not finish the race. Cohen Van XL has returned to pit lane, meaning he cannot finish the race. 13th down to 18th. All those drivers have disconnected from the race and will not be participating any longer. Martin Hell has just been sat in pit lane for 28 of these 30 laps. And so now we just quite... There might have been a collision at the beginning of the race, or he might have just returned to pit lane at the beginning of the race. But he is not continuing anymore. Nassim Rula setting a 20.3 on his medium tyres. Driver behind setting a 19.8, so the gap is closing, but 3 seconds to close in 2 laps is not quite enough time. You would need a miracle, or you would need to be about 2.5, 3 seconds faster than the driver ahead to be able to even be in a chance of overtaking him. You'd have to be about comfortably 3 seconds faster to get that extra second on that final lap to get past him. But we're on lap 31 of 32. 30 laps have been completed by the drivers, or at least the drivers from 1st to 8th, because it's 9th. It's still on lap 29. Oh, Cadillac Craft getting a little bit of wheel spin, it seems there. But now we just wait. He's all over the curves. He's just behind. That could actually be the driver that he's next racing. Could be. That is Max Romare with the Cadillac behind. Cadillac and Victor Banat both on super soft tyres, so they have a bit more pace than drivers around them due to the more grip the tyre brings, but that also means they need to work the tyre a little bit harder, needing the higher temperatures. And as Nassim crosses the line a bit ago now to start his final lap of the race, Victor Banat had a bad exit off of that hairpin there. Oh, there's a bit of contact there, and Victor Banat is now sideways off the track as Max Romare, the Bijou Racing driver, is just about able to hold it and continue going forwards. Victor Banat, though, that will be looked at. That does all seem a little bit closer. I think, if anything, that's on Victor there, because Max was heavily alongside. He had his tyre alongside. They banged front wheel to rear wheel, and Victor just came a little bit over to the right. So in my mind, that is fault put onto Victor. If anyone, though, that could be no fault, because there's also, you could say that Max should have pulled out, given the position up, and fought for it at another point on the track. But it's the last lap. Anyway, so Nassim, as we watch him cross the line, Nassim wins the Italian Grand Prix. Ooh, where's the line? There we are. Nassim wins the Italian Grand Prix, being his second win this season, but I don't believe he got fastest lap, so fastest lap going to the driver watching just now, Ziglio. So Nassim goes up to 50 points. The two Baguette Racing drivers both hit about 30-40 points each. Daniel Soul, we've still got about a minute until he crosses the line. Victor Bernat, the first driver of the lap drivers to cross the line. And so now we just wait an extra minute. Daniel Soul through the penultimate, as well as Dykowski. And through the final and on to the end of the lap for car 96, Daniel Soul crosses the line to take 4th position. Dykowski, the number 60, crosses the line to take P5. We still have Timo to cross the line quite comfortably in P6. Max Romer will easily take P7, as he cannot drop any lower down now, as the driver behind has finished the race. And so he could DNF here and still be considered P7, because while he didn't finish the race, he was within 2 laps, so he's classified still. Cadillac Crafter being the last driver to cross the line. So out of 19 drivers starting this race, it looked like 13 were going to not finish. Ooh, big crash at the end of the race there. But it looked like it was just going to be sort of 14th to 19th weren't going to finish. And then we had the big crash on about lap 27, 28, I want to say, which did take a couple of drivers out of contention there. But as we just go on to driver interviews now, which is just my screen, as we leave that session. Now I will get a couple of interviews done. Guth is not the driver I want to be speaking to. Baguette Racing. What are their names? Dmitry Kamishov. And then at Simon Italy. He's already offline, so I won't at him. Wait for Nassim. Nassim isn't doing an interview. That was a great race from Nassim there. He's not able to do an interview, but that was a great race from him. Lights to flag. He only lost position when Victor Bernat was going for a slightly different strategy there. And so that was the only time when he lost the lead. And maybe at the start, actually, because at the start it looked like the Baguette Racing driver got a great start off the line. I will quickly at... There we are. I'm guessing our second place driver. Typing. We have just drivers saying how they or Nassim saying how Dimitri is very fast, and Dimitri saying he wasn't quite fast enough today. I don't think we're getting interviews today. Hit me in the rear, Aqua Minerale, punting me off the circuit, yeah. Cadillac, hit me in the braking, Aqua Minerale, again gave me orange wheel and punted me off the circuit, Kadoki. So Ven had 2 offs caused by other drivers, which he put in about 10 minutes ago. So that will be looked at. Interesting. Anyway, I think... Yeah, we're not able to get an interview out of our second place driver. Third place driver isn't online. And our first place driver would get an interview. But, yes, that is it. So, I will just go on to the most updated standings. So, you have... After South Africa, Nassim was leading, but... No, he is still leading, but by how much? A little bit more. Anyway, so after that, our top 3 was Nassim, Kamishov, and Ziglio. So Baguette Racing extends their lead at the top. Bijou Racing score a couple of points, but they do lose positions. And then Over the Limit, I think they get closer. They Over the Limit get a lot closer to Bijou Racing. It's interesting how Over the Limit are the sister team. And Breaking Point Racing is lower. It's like when Toro Rosso got their first win before Red Bull did. And Over the Limit have gotten a lot of wins this season, but yeah, let's see.
Hello?
Hello, we have Nassim here. For the interview, we are still streaming. We are. I was just double checking.
Okay, good.
So.
Yeah, I realized I could join with my phone because my microphone on my headset isn't working.
Yeah.
That was tiring, but that was fun.
Yeah, it was a great race. You led from like lights to flag. That was a great race from you.
Yeah, I think there was one lap where I think it was Victor who stayed out.
Yeah, because he took a slightly different strategy where he went long on the super soft at the beginning and then pit then pit a little bit later than you for the second pit stop as well.
Yeah, and otherwise, yeah. Who was it? Dimitri, I think his name is. He had a really good start. That was very scary at the front.
Yeah, we saw that. I thought he got him into turn 1, but then as you came through, you were still ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I had to use all my cars to stay ahead, and even then, he was slightly ahead. I had to brakes very late. It's very scary.
Yeah, great racing from you there. Great racing from everyone. I think by the end, sort of, you in the top 3 were about a minute ahead of 4th place.
Yeah, I felt like I was losing quite a lot on the yellow flags because there was a yellow flag between Aqua Minerale and Variante Alta.
Yeah, I mean, I think Guth was sat there for about 3 or 4 laps after having a big moment.
Yeah, I lost like 5 seconds.
Ooh.
Didn't cost the race though, did it?
Ooh.
Yeah, it didn't matter towards the end. It was Poland fastest lap as well, right?
I'm not sure if you got fastest lap. I think that went to the 3rd place driver.
Ah, shit.
Hey, say it with the language.
Okay.
We need some good PR.
I think the win's good enough PR.
I also want to thank my friends Capilarco and BTC som en 12-åring Akidus for helping me out with the setup. They were really helpful.
What about your useless teammate?
Yeah, he's absolutely useless. I don't know why he's on the team. I should fire him.
Watch your words.
Oh no, you did get fast. I thought.
Oh, I did get fast.
Yeah, apparently I thought it said Ziglio got an 18.5, but no, it was you got 18.5. So you also got fastest lap again. So it's 3 times now you've got fastest pole lap and fastest lap.
Let's go. Absolutely smashing it.
But I think Baguette still leads, right?
Yes, Baguette still lead, but I think you get very close with Bijou now.
Yeah,
Oh
wait.
god.
Bijou.
Honestly, when is Bahn's performance coming? That's what I'm
Yes.
curious about.
Give them 100% more power, and you'll still spin.
Let me turn up that turbo.
Yeah.
Turn the turbo to 11.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
was you with the 18.5 fastest lap, and then for the past 2 races, it's been you fastest lap, you pole position.
Yep. Pace looking good.
Insane pace, and when in, what was it, in preseason testing, you're telling me that you the car felt very bad and you weren't enjoying it.
The preseason was shit, man. It was absolutely terrible. Like, the car was no balance, no grip. But I think it should be track specific, really. I haven't changed what I do with my setup.
Just Mugello isn't quite a good track for you.
Yeah. No other excuse, really. Just track.
Yes, congratulations on the win. Have you got a driver of the day for yourself?
Yes, Dimitri. He really impressed me
Dimitri.
today. Was it his first race today?
His second race. His first race was a couple of weeks ago in South Africa.
Yeah, he's really impressive. Really quick.
Yeah, two second places for him. So he's on 36 points.
Yeah, that's very strong.
And Simone's gotten the first and the third, and you've gotten 2 first places.
Mm.
So you're on 52 points now. And
It was P2.
P2, I'm not sure. Actually, let me get up what it is at the minute, and I'll think quick.
Is it Simone or is it Dimitri?
Me, of course.
Oh, it's definitely Ven. I'm gonna do the maths quick. 25 plus 12 is 37, so it's Simone by 1 point.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But I think you're about 10 points ahead.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, so very good. So good luck for the rest of the season, and thank you for joining me in the booth.
Anytime, man. I mean,
Cool.
to be fair, I've been begging for this spot again, but we'll see if I can find a replacement driver. Nah, but I mean, to sum it up, I mean, my race was. I'm not sure if the broadcast picked up any of my crashes, but
I think it picked up both. It picked up the Sarah one, like the entire way through, and the second one we catch you go off and then and then leave.
I mean, when you have orange when the car is impossible to drive. Like, Kobigar, the chicane, or the Villeneuve chicane, for example. Like, of course, on the exterior you have your full throttle, but like with the orange rear, like you can't go full throttle on that corner. That literally loses you like easy 2 tenths right there because you're not keeping the front end. So it's just like it's.
Not
I
quite the best
mean,
race for you today, was it?
I mean, I got a good start. I'm happy with my start up to P7.
Yeah, it was
You
a
know,
great start, and then you had the collision with Sarah on about lap 5, wasn't it?
and that's when my race went down the gutter. And, yeah. And then I had a nice battle with Kalak. He just came out of the pits. We were side by side, and then we went into Aqua Minerale, and we were side by side. He backed out. And I thought that, he wouldn't go down the inside, but instead he rear-ended me and orange rear wing. I tried carrying on, but orange rear wing is impossible to drive with, so yeah.
Oh well, there's always next week to try and score good points, so...
I mean, when your teammate is winning and you're being lapped by him on lap 15, I think I got lapped on by him, so it's not good. So.
Well, it's just the youngsters with the pace.
I mean, Red Bull Ring, I mean, I would use the joke that half the circuit is DRS, but we don't have DRS.
Do we not have DRS? Oh.
Yeah.
Do,
Otherwise, I would have used that joke, the Kimmy.
do we have it in quali? On nowhere at all?
No, no.
No? Wow.
Not at all. Yeah, I'm surprised they don't know that. DRS, they were scared for the driver safety. That's why they.
Yeah. So I know at Tunisia, when I did laps, the DRS was a bit dangerous through near the end of the lap, but for Austria it should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, there are rumors in the paddock. I mean, that some of the drivers are not happy with it, but they said that they're trying to work on DRS being safer and being introduced for next season. But we'll see.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining me, Booth, a couple of times today. That will be the end of stream. You had your winner, Nassim. Second place was Dimitri Cam something or another. I can't pronounce names. And third place was Ziglio. So
Just call him the guy from Georgia.
the fastest guy, the second fastest guy.
Nah, the guy from Georgia.
The guy from Georgia. That works.
The Georgian rebel.
Yeah, anyway. Thank you very much for joining me in the booth, Fen. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone watching. And that will be the end of the stream today. Goodbye.
Anytime.